This podcast is on Patreon. For those who don't know what that is, it is where you can get a load of bonus content around the pod. You get early access to the weekly podcast, you get guest episodes, Q&As, you get the extra Sly Guy podcast, Dog Walks with Davey, and lots more. I answer your questions exclusively over there, early access to gigs, whatever you want. We merch releases all over at patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast, or simply by following the link in the description of this podcast. You can subscribe there for as little as £3 a month, or £2 at the minute until the end of the month. £3 a month in the new system. And you can get all that bonus content. Oh. Don't know why I did a Halloween thing there. I haven't mentioned it yet. Visual Antics Apparel sponsor the podcast. They designed the logo. They've made the merch. The merch is good to wear. I want to see the Sly Hards in the street marching. Not like unless you get permission from the Parades Commission. But get your Sly Guy merch at visualanticsapparel.com. Get yourself decked out in the sweetest merch in the game. And if you want 10% off, use the discount code SLYGUY10 at checkout so you don't look like a big chump that's paid full price. Follow the link in the description, get your merch, and stop being a little crybaby. This podcast is sponsored by Modest Beer. Modest Beer is the #1 beer in the world. It's spelt with an M and an O and a D at the first three. But is it Modelo's probably actually? But those, and it's modest. All right, Modest Beer is a #1 beer. It's my favorite tin beer. It should be yours too. And you want to check out what beers they have? Head to their website, modestbeer.co.uk, or follow the link in the description of this podcast. And if you want to buy beer, you want to buy merch, use the discount code SLYPA15 at checkout. That's SLYPA15 at checkout. Tell them Davey sent you. Choo-choo hoopa.
I'm the Sly Guy.
To this, the Halloween special of the Sly Guy podcast. Ooh. If this is your first time watching the podcast, subscribe. Wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever. Oh. And if you've already subscribed, cheers, much appreciated. Big love to you. Spooky candle and all. Ooh, it's Yankee candle, so I mean, it's not really that spooky. If anything, it just makes you fear that there's going to be like a major Karen just come and get you. Oh. But welcome to the podcast. This, I'm going to keep holding it for ambience, the Halloween episode of the Sly Guy podcast. Wherever you're listening, whether you believe in ghosts and monsters and Halloween or not, ooh, this is the place to be to start your Halloween. And what a fun episode it was. I brought the spookiest guy in Northern Irish comedy, the Slender Man of laughs, if you will, my friend and yours, Shane Todd. What an episode it was. We had a lot of fun. Told some ghost stories. Talked about some urban myths. And then just had just some general fun amongst it all. By the way, there are other candle brands available if anyone wants to sponsor the podcast, but also this smells amazing. It smells, it's exclusive pumpkin magic. This is what's called. Just smells like everything at autumn tastes like. Coffee and pumpkin spice. But it's a great podcast. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed doing it. And hope you are safe on Halloween. You don't spike your candies like some sort of nonce. Enjoy the episode with me and Shane Todd.
Right, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I have something really sneaky.
What is it?
Stolen banana.
Where'd you steal it? It's a battered banana.
Downstairs, I think it's George's.
Whose?
George's.
George's banana. Oh, yeah. Oh, people are into this ASMR now.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Just hold your wee cup. I'm worried about this table. It's fucking wild, man. Shane Todd, welcome to the Sly Guy podcast. I'm sorry I'm being sly to you off the bat. And you're being sly to the listeners. If I was listening back this with my illness, my misophonia, I'd be losing my mind.
I'm a very courteous eater. I'll not be loud. Like,
you're not a slapper.
I'll not be loud.
You
I'm
know?
not. Who is? Do we know anyone? Is there anyone? Because you have that condition, AIDS, but no, misophonia.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone that triggers you that like doesn't know it?
Not that I know of. Not that they ring a bell. Be like, I wouldn't want to eat with them. Now you could imagine people, which is probably stereotypical.
I could see your dad being a big chomper. Like,
now my dad's a quiet
your
eater.
ma says you.
Oh man, it's the Halloween episode. You're starting off with a smut.
Well, that is pretty spooky.
Fucking hell, it is
Ooh,
spooky.
if you walked in and saw that. Ooh.
Yeah, oh man, don't even start me. I had a spooky experience similar to that this week. Not similar to that, but it was something uncomfortable. My obviously, for those who aren't aware, I'm back home living with my parents. It's all gone fucking Pete Tom.
Yeah.
The wife's left me, taking the kids. No, we're all
Now worse, they're there too.
I know they're still there. Yeah. But
it'd be pretty sweet to move back in like by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Like we're saying, like we're on the, you know, you have these weird conversations with your wife. You're like, what would you do? Like if I ever left you, what would you do? I'd be like, fuck it, straight back to my ma's. Be sweet.
Yeah.
Me and the dog, time of life.
Yeah.
But so I went home, and now Catherine's started a new job, and it's involving, I'd say too much online training. 14 weeks, 9 to 5 online. So that's SLY. You know, I'm gonna have to take up this cut up.
How much can you get out of online training?
Now she should be able to run the company by the end of it, I would say. But my point is, she can't leave that training room from 9 to 5. She's a wee lunch break. Other than that, I'm just looking. So last few days, a wee bit stressful.
She's got to go to a place to do online training.
Yeah, spare roommate.
Oh, in the house?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I have to try to do all the school runs, look after the kids, do all that, and try to stop them being super noisy all the time. Right. Stressful day. So yesterday, my mum went out. My mum does a lot of beautifying stuff for a woman who's not really into beautifying herself that much.
Yeah, she is.
But she's not, like, she wouldn't be a super like cake and makeup person.
She wouldn't be cake. Pam was, or Pat's classy. But I saw Pat on a flight, me and William, we were going to London, and she looked great.
No, she looks great, don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't say she's always like out getting her makeup done all again. See, nowadays, retired, getting her feet done, getting massaged, getting flipping facials.
Here, can I ask you 2 words?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah. True.
Why not, David? True. God forbid, after all you put her through.
True.
But in your teenage years?
Yeah, well, what's that mean?
You
used good boy.
No. You put them through hell.
Well, anyway, so she's out a lot getting that. So yesterday she had a full morning of just like getting her stuff done, which is fine. I'm the dad.
Not her dad.
No, I'm her daddy. I don't know what that means. It's creepy. But I'm responsible.
You say
for
who's your daddy?
Kids.
She's like your granddad.
I don't know what that means, but I look after the kids, obviously. But she would sometimes be like, "Here, I'll watch them for a wee hour if I have a bit of work to do or something else." So yesterday I was like, I could have done with them maybe. You know when the kids do your head in, you could just do 10 minutes to just go and recharge, come back.
To just have 10 minutes.
So I just want to have 10 minutes.
Sit down.
Now, I went to 10 minutes and I just went up. She came back in. The kids were drawing at the table. It was all good on the table, writing racial slurs, just being hateful wee bastard, right? No, they were doing a bit of art. My mum was watching them. I went upstairs. Adults, okay. Now, I was wearing like yellow shorts and an Arsenal fluorescent away kit. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Holly's bed is like a fairy scene, right? The decor. So I kind of blended into the bed a wee bit, right? So I just lying in the bed like this, and then I heard my mum bombing upstairs, and I was like, "Oh no, please see me here," and she just didn't, and then just went into the toilet next door, but left the door fully open and just started to do a pee, and I was like, I'm not listening. My mum do the world's loudest pee. It just freaked me out. So I had to lie there, and I hoped she didn't see me, and she didn't. Thankfully, see me and went by. But if I had a not,
I have a couple of questions.
I'd be traumatized. Yeah.
A couple of questions.
Yep, ready to answer.
Number one, what if you were going to take 10 minutes to lie down?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just go and lie down in your own bed?
Because I don't have a bed in my parents' house. The bed I was in. So right, here's another one. My bed in my parents' house is actually smaller. It's like I think it's a queen size or something. So it's not.
Oh,
good.
life's hard, David.
Yeah, so it's not. I can't fit. It's okay for little svelte things like you.
But what size is Holly's bed then?
It's a double. She's up there in a big double, so I sleep up there with her at the minute until like.
This makes more sense. Yeah. My second question: why is Pat going for a number 1 al fresco?
I don't know. Cause
why is she not closing the door?
She obviously is on the top floor and doesn't think I'm there.
So but why? And my third question: why didn't you go? I'm here, mate. Like why? No, why did you go? Oh, she has to see me. Why were you incapable of?
Because my mum is not a chill person, so if she comes upstairs and doesn't know I'm there, and I already go.
No, she's chill enough to not worry about people seeing her piss.
But look, I wasn't seeing her piss. I would have meant.
Yeah, you could have.
No, I couldn't have. That would have been weirder because I would have had to get up out of bed, crane my head out, and go, "All right, mate." You know, that would have been weird. That's where it gets odd. But
enjoying your pee, mummy.
But my mum panics over like she'd be the worst person in any sort of stress, right? My mum goes from 0 stress to 100 stress.
Yes.
So if she had come up the stairs And there's a wee stair gate too, right? So if she had come up the stairs and I'd gone, all right, mate, she'd gone, ugh, and probably fallen down the stairs and died. You know, that's a big killer for women in their 60s these days, just being startled. So
well, that's so specific. You're like, that's a big killer for women in their 60s when their big fluorescent sons are sleeping in a child's bed.
Yeah, that's that whole scenario was weird. But I just didn't, and then I had to sneak downstairs because I knew it would be weird for her as weird.
Well, I have this too, where if I'm I was
gonna say, is your mum a power pisser too?
I don't know, but I'm very quiet walking upstairs, right? Do you know what I mean? You put some people see going downstairs. I'm an elephant.
You'd be a good like night stalker.
Yeah. See going upstairs, dainty, quiet, but I don't mean to be. But I will always like be upstairs, and then my wife, like during the day or something, won't know I'm upstairs, and I know I'll make her jump. But what also would make her jump is me going, I'm here. You know, I always do that. I go, I'm in this room too. You know, I say things that are scarier than me making you jump.
Yeah. But then it's always weird that you're under the bed. Like, hello. Because that happened to be there. And again, it was turned on to me to be in the wrong. Now, we were in the kitchen. The kids were in the kitchen. Catherine was like cutting up some food for their dinner. And I was there, and I walked over to like get a glass of water.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like a snuck up.
Yeah.
And I went to, she went, oh!
I did this.
Like that. And I was going, and then my response was this.
Why are wives so jumpy?
I don't know. Whenever she turned around.
Men are the worst. Like we put women on edge so bad that even like if they see us out of their periphery, they jump.
But that was the thing. She turned around and screamed in my ear. And I went, oh, like that. She goes, what's wrong with you? I was like, you just screamed in my ear.
Yeah.
You know, you scared me.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to point out that the world we live in today is not like guys shouldn't be creeping up on women.
No,
it's a scary world. It's bad.
No.
You know, I think I've spoken about this before, that I've gone the opposite of that. Like we had a chat all about, you know, about believe all women, and I said, listen, you should believe people, but don't believe everything everyone says all the time. You know, but Catherine was like, you don't realize because you're a man, you don't know what it's like being a woman, and I was like, I know, I'm sorry. She goes, but even like walking down the street at night, so you might intimidate people not realizing.
Especially you.
And that's what she says to me. She goes to me, especially you, because you do that thing. And I was like, what's that thing? I was like, I'm very curious to know.
Get your cock and balls out.
Yeah. But
you couldn't helicopter.
No,
I'd
be like, you know, the thing it stops the door hitting. It's like, I think a maraca. But,
hold on. That thing goes brrr.
Yeah.
It doesn't go
my balls. But I was like, what's that thing? She goes, oh, you know why you've got asthma?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So it's like when you're like walking along, you're breathing heavy.
You're a big heavy breather.
I was like, all right. So then I was like, okay,
you're a mouth breather too.
Oh, which people often, I'll get into that later, but say it's associated with people that don't get enough oxygen.
And you know, because I do the chamber, I get too much.
Yeah, you've
I'm in the oxygen chamber.
Yeah. You're like that guy that spends $1 million a year trying to reverse his age, and he's like, you know what the thing about him is, he's like 58, but he just looks dead. You know, he's no wrinkles, but he's so white. But so I know I make the thing. Now, I probably go over the top. So like Catherine would be like, if you're walking down the same street as or behind me or whatever, I'd probably subconsciously cross the road.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking bad.
Yeah.
So now what I do, if I see a woman walking the same side of the road as me when I'm out with the dog or something, I will go, hello, and I cross the road out of the way. Like, good morning.
You're right, that's too much,
Yeah. But then, you know, you don't want to go.
Especially because you got the dog. Like you actually, you don't, as much as I joke, you don't have an intimidating aura about you. Especially because of the trainers you wear. I think you wear a lot of luminous type. The way you dress, you know, you don't look.
You know, I'm not discreet. You know, you're
not
easy
discreet.
to point out.
You're right.
You know, you're easy to point out.
Yeah.
And now I had another problem Catherine had pointed out to me recently. Now, I know I've said I hate guys in dry robes. You know, that's the thing I'm not.
I thought you were about to say drag.
No,
like,
I mean,
whoa.
I mean, I'm happy with them as long as I'm not reading my kids. No, I joke. I'm all right. But I got bought a coat for Christmas last year by my sister. And she was like, I don't know if he's going to like this. And now, the cut and design, shape, and it's a dry robe.
Right.
But it's an Arsenal dry robe. So I'm
That's
arguing.
What a present.
So I'm saying it's not dry robe.
Yeah, that's top tier.
That's nice. But I say, look, it's not dry robe because it's not on the beach. It's a you know, a bench coat.
Yes.
Bench coat.
Yes.
But I wear shorts. So the bench coat goes pretty short. And now I'm trying to wear a new hiking boots I got. So I look like a naked guy.
Yeah.
In this dry robe with hiking boots.
You look like a rambling flasher.
Yeah.
Dave Elliott is the rambling flasher.
I look exactly like
You at the top of Steve Donner.
I have
Where
no
the
dick.
people
top
don't
Steve
have them
Donner.
doorstops anymore, sure they don't.
Not really. No,
We had
they
one in my
should.
dad's house. It was brilliant.
Yeah, but then I think kids. I always play like.
You'd
maybe
have flicked that for an hour.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know.
That's why our generation's good at fingering.
Exactly. You know. Do you know what it's like? It's like you'd be good at. You know what I mean? You'd be good at speedballing a dick.
Yeah.
If ever, you know.
Yep.
You'd be able to work that because of the work.
I think you think Raven and Speedball.
Yeah.
You get beaten boxing so quick.
Just getting jabbed out. But I think I think it'd be out handled like well.
The wee doorstops are brilliant. Like
You miss them.
yeah.
But it's hard nowadays to compare. I think that is such a thing that you now look at everything. I think it's just a natural age thing. Everyone goes through it. Where like it was better in my day.
Oh,
And
it was.
But like going outside and playing. Remember playing?
Mate,
Was there any-
playing was
Oh.
and look, you put this on paper for nowadays, like us as parents nowadays. We were talking recently. We were talking about what age would you leave the boys in the house by themselves?
Yeah.
If we were going out for dinner or something.
Mhm.
And the ages being thrown about were like 15, 16.
Yeah.
My dad went to Tenerife when I was 12 and I stayed in the house for a week by myself. And I'll tell you what, part of that was I genuinely, like, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. Like, I'm very,
Was it during school holidays?
no. I was up in school, like, because I wouldn't have, maybe towards the end of me going to school, I'd like met stuff,
Mhm.
but not like I wouldn't really, like, if my dad's going away, I will be a good boy.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need to worry about parties or anything like that
Did
or
you go to
missing
bed at all
school.
normal time?
Swear to God. No issue. So I had to stay, and I could have been in the house if he went for younger than that. But I remember during the summer, no mobile phones, obviously. My mates were going to be in one of like 4 places.
Yeah.
So you would just get on your bike first thing in the morning, cycle around and find them. But that's like at the age of 8, 9, 10.
Mhm.
And you're just trusted. I think there was more trust. But I like could have been trusted. I like good boy.
Yeah.
Like.
But I also think there's more community back in those days too.
Yes,
Where like
yes.
see nowadays, I think like if I was a bad boy, one of my mates' dads or mums would have shouted at me. I'd have got a clip around the ear if I was bad.
Yep.
Whereas nowadays, like you don't touch my son, don't you?
Yes, yes,
Whereas,
yes.
so now you can know if I was down the street, you know I could be of like you say. There's a couple of houses up the street, and mate Darren lived up there. A few people up there, and then down the street you had a few. So my parents had good vantage to see both.
Yes.
So you could watch me playing on the street, and then
Did
have
you
it
get
back.
hit when you were a kid?
Yeah, the odd time, yeah, I did.
Do you know what the sorest one I ever got was? So, what did I get it for? My granny, I can't even remember what I got it for. Messing. My granny
Oh, no.
got a Belfast Telegraph.
Uh-huh.
It was thicker back in those days.
Mhm.
More news. And I watched her roll it up, and I'd
Mhm.
done something, but it was like not just before this happened. I'm talking like an hour. But my granny sat with the Belfast Telegraph. You know the way you had to wait for the late edition to come in because
Yeah.
it was early in the late, and she spent ages like doing like full like origami was like rolling it up
Mhm.
really tight. And I'm watching her and she's chatting away, and then when she finished it, she went, "Come here," and I like walked over to her, and my granny, right in the bridge of my nose,
Oh.
telegraph as hard as you could do it. I didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah.
She rolled it up.
How sore?
Awful, awful. So my granny would have hit me a few times, but not. Oh, can I tell you something?
Mhm.
My cousins when I was younger, I had 3 boys, not that different in age.
Mhm.
They were messing. Ma was away out and they were messing. And all my family live, you know this, in like the same street
Mhm.
in the estate out there. And the boys were messing. And it was the oldest and the youngest,
Mhm.
right? Michael and Neil
Yeah.
were messing, like fighting in the house.
Yeah.
And somebody must have like walked past and then called in at my granny's.
Uh-huh.
I went to one of my granny's mates or something. They're fighting. You want to hear them in there? They're fighting and all this.
Fighting bastard.
Mark in the middle was the only one to be like he was not involved,
Yeah.
and he went up to my granny's house to like
Mhm.
tell my granny like they're fighting and I don't know what I can do about it.
Yeah.
See, when he opened the door,
Mhm.
my granny just full smack in the nose, full punch, knocked him down, and then he's like, "I didn't do anything," and she was like, "Go and tell them, go
Yeah.
and show them your nose."
Yeah.
You beat
But-
my granny beat the fuck out of it. And like the best person you ever meet in your life,
Uh-huh.
but hard like.
You have to be. See, back in those
Yeah.
days when you're like a matriarch of a family, you have to be.
Oh yeah.
You gotta be tough. Like, see, what the issue with my granny was? My granny was
Had no arms.
yeah, but my granny was one of those when my dad was an only child, and my granddad he was like a typical grumpy. He just didn't involve. He's like, oh, I just hate my life.
Right.
Whereas my dad was like a little Lord Fauntleroy.
Big Davy spoiled, like.
He was so spoiled, and like my granny would do everything for him.
Yeah.
And like he couldn't do wrong. You know, he couldn't do wrong, and it was like
That's
I think
a
that's
dangerous
the problem.
thing. When people think their kids can't do any wrong.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Not my Tommy.
No, but that's what I had when I did ASB. I had to go to people's houses, and some people had knocked on the door. I'd be like, "Yeah, we've had a report of." He wouldn't do that.
Yes,
and We've fully got video of him doing it.
Yeah.
No, they're just saying that. There was one guy in particular who was like, he was being such a bollocks, and like we got basically told the roundabout way if via the community group,
by the boyos,
from the boys via the community group, that if he messes around anymore, there's gonna be trouble. And I said to the mum, "There's gonna be trouble," and all. And like he was such a wee dick. Like,
I can see his face.
And he's
it's like mine.
You know what happened though? Mugged him so hard. You know what he looked like? You know, Carl from Shameless.
Yeah.
Like that sort of. You know the two brothers?
Yes.
Yeah, like that. But and he was all. And he loved himself and all. And then I said to him, I was like, you know what? If you keep this up, your mum and sister are likely to lose their house.
Yeah.
You're start crying. Love it. Have that. And then he went back to the bollocks again, and I couldn't help him because it was not my job. I tried to knock behaviour in the head, and the next thing he had a wee accident and broke both his legs and both his arms. But I think he behaved after that. So
yeah,
But I always was scared. Scared.
Yeah.
The boys like scary words.
Shit when the boys put you out, like.
Yeah. Sometimes like you go, I get that. I understand why that's happened. Other times I'm like, that's fly. Why have you done that? It's so sly.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to be put out. Be so much hassle. Like.
Oh, be a bollocks.
Yeah.
But then there's some people who just live such a wild life.
Yeah.
They're like, they just party and then they get the top points and they get a wee grant and all too. So it's like, this is a proper.
Well, someone was telling me this. The number one thing for getting points is intimidation. Is that right?
Yes.
So could you theoretically write spray paint in your own walls saying,
well, it has
Dave
to be,
Elliott, I'm going to kill you if you don't get a class house?
It has to be sort of validated by a source. So that could be from the police or from there's a group who represent
like a boy band.
Yeah, you have to go through A1 to make sure, and if Ben from A1 says you're under threat, I think it's so different now.
You say you've changed your behaviour. He says you're the same old brand new.
But there's groups on each side, on like Republican side and on a loyalist side.
Like a A1 and 911.
Yes,
right.
A1 and he's 17. They're the real bad boys. They're UVF, and they had to go through East Belfast 17.
You got my body shaking. Do you think, like especially back in the days, do you think the best looking guys in local paramilitaries could have been like boy bands? Because they had, what I'm saying is E17 look like local paramilitaries here, the way they dress and look. And every once in a while you see a SPG, a sexy paramilitary guy. Back in the day, like white vest, like, vest on.
Yeah, like
trackies
guys,
and stuff.
Like, but E17 were a boy band I never fancied.
Who are the most paramilitary boy band?
It's E17. Has to be.
Yeah.
You can't, like, people probably go, oh, what about Blazing Squad? You go, they're not paramilitary. They're like, road
They're
men.
cousins in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like E17, Brian Harvey is the most smacked out with your face.
Yeah, he loyalist, like.
Spike from 911 would be in the paramilitary. He's gonna look about him.
Yeah.
For sure. And you know who could be paramilitary if he just shaved those wee bits there? Guy from Aqua. Hey Bobby.
Do you know who couldn't be? Mark from Westlife.
Yeah.
Would never in a million. Stephen Gately.
No.
Even Ronan Keaton, like.
I mean, I thought you were just going through the gay dudes.
No.
Gay man.
No.
Yeah.
But then we didn't know Mark was gay for years.
No.
Or Stephen.
No. Yeah, that was so sly when Stephen died, and everyone was like, "Oh, he must have been on drugs." What?
Yeah, he wasn't terrible.
No, he just had a wee problem with his heart. Really sad. He's my favorite singer in Boys. But yeah, E17 would be full north to the south to the east to the west.
I only know Stay Another Day.
Oh, Around the World. Been around the world. There's no place like home.
That's them.
Oh,
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Who does a cover of that then?
I don't know.
Brian Kennedy or something?
Could be. He does the Black Lives Matter version though.
Yeah.
Very niche.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so the boys would then go like, yeah, that must be a job of somebody in a paramilitary to just sit by the phone here. But so and so understands. Yes. You don't have to put out.
I remember we saw, we were playing Haunts. It's just hide and go seek, but Haunts sounds
But
better.
no, it's Halloween.
Oh,
so
yeah.
let's go. Let's get into it. Let's talk about haunts.
So we saw, me and my mate Marty Kelly were on top of a coal shed in the middle of, near West Green. And there was a guy who got kneecapped by his mates. You know, not like, one of these, like, we have to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was round the back of the flats. That side of the flats aren't there now. But he got you, and we were kind of like, it sounds like something from a movie, but we were hiding on the coal shed.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then this happened, so we kind of froze and just had to be there. It happened when we were there. Did I see this action? No, I didn't. But we saw him and where he stayed. You know, it was kind of one of those ones where we turn around and they're standing there, then they leave, and he's just sitting there. But what's funny is we also saw when like later on you saw the police arriving and whatever, and he denied that he'd been kneecapped. And I remember the police and ambulance guy sort of, looking at him, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
And they obviously couldn't rat on them.
Fair play to him.
He's like, no. It wasn't them.
You're like, but where's your knees, mate? Like, it's such a, that's so terrifying, like, too. That gives me the willies, like.
The Halloween app.
Yeah. Kneecaps.
So let me ask you something. Do you believe in paranormal type stuff, ghost type stuff, at any level?
Do you know what I'm going to say? And I think how I feel about this sort of stuff and about religion and other stuff. I think nobody truly knows definitively one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Man.
So I think stuff can happen. I also think a lot of people have mental health problems. And I also think that they can fabricate stuff in their own mind. To be and like anxieties can make things worse. But like whenever I did the Lesser Spooked Ulcer with Psychic Glenn, I was like, there was a thing happening, all right, and there was no explanation to it. We went upstairs in Grace Neal's pub.
It didn't get a series.
Yeah. It didn't.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it should have done. But,
it was fun. I thought it was a fun show.
It was fun, but I think there's just some difficulties with working with certain people and other things, and like involvements with stuff, and people clashed and whatever, and with this afterlife. And we went upstairs in this bar, and Glenn was like, I feel it. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And then he was starting to panic a bit. And we went in this room, and he was like, oh, I really feel like I'm sensing something happened here. And without anyone doing anything, a picture fell off the wall and smashed on the ground. Swear to God, it's in the thing.
Nope.
Swear. Scared.
Well, you have said it. There's no way
Yeah.
that a picture just fell from the wall at that point.
Yeah, but it was like...
Did you see it fall? Or
No.
did you hear?
We heard it. No, but it was on the ground. So whenever we had left the room, he's like, they don't want us here. We left it on the ground. And
Possible.
What happened? So I don't know whether I just accidentally bumped into a wall and knocked it down, but it happened. And then there was a really freaky picture in of like a mum and a young child. She was holding a knife. It was freaky. Very, very freaky. But at the same time,
I don't believe in any of it.
In apparently the Giant's Ring, we know a few spooky things have happened there, but allegedly it's one of like the most historically haunted places on the island of Ireland.
But you were there during the day, weren't you?
Yeah, but
Wasn't right.
Glenn is ADHD.
Yeah.
So there's only a level and a certain amount of time he can do stuff for, really.
Right.
So by the time he got the Giant's Ring, he could not have given a fuck. So he got there and he's like, nah, it's not here. I can't feel it. We're like, can you, like, because Connor from
Document
Belfast was there as well. So we were trying to, like, and I was like,
trying to get something cooking.
Yeah, get something. He was like, no, Dave, I just don't feel it. And I was like, Glenn, come on, can we?
Yeah.
And then, like, we got there, and because he was like, nah, I just think this is just an old place. I was like, yeah, but come on, you're the one that has to kind of, we can go up. So then what we did, we got the wee stone display in the middle.
Yeah.
And we were like, can you go in there? I was like, poke your head out. So we were just trying to fill time for that. But it was fun. So I think it's still on iPlayer if you want to go watch that. But it was good fun, man.
So I would. Do you know what I think makes me less like scared of the idea of stuff like that? Mm-hmm. And this sounds weird. I always slept in pitch black darkness from the second I was born. And I don't mean to sound like Batman or something. But I slept Like my dad, like I never had a nightlight
Uh-huh.
ever. Like my dad turned the main light off in my room and then closed the door.
Mhm.
So I've never been scared of the door. I'm scared of the light. So I think a lot of fear comes from being scared of the dark and not being
Yeah.
able to see things.
Yeah. So abusive.
It's so
They
weird.
did things differently, right? Fuck up. Wait a bit. You go like a prisoner. And you're just left, and he went to Tenerife for 2 weeks just in a pitch black room. I'm not mentioning it.
This
Didn't
is-
have a bed.
This is when I was like a baby, I mean. And then I kept that going. But this wasn't when he was like 12 and going to Tenerife. He wasn't like
All right, see you later.
into
son.
your cell.
Just a
Big
couple
like
of
massive
loaves.
thing of keys. A neighbour put some gruel through the bars.
I do have any gruel. But,
I'm trying to think the most freaked out I've been.
but does
Something like
anything
that.
like that? There's like I know you like a bit of history, and I enjoy like an urban legend, an
Yeah.
urban myth, things like that. You're like, is that real? Is it not? Is it?
I remember where we used to live at my ma's house. There was a giant electricity box.
Mhm.
I'm talking half the size of this room,
Mhm.
and it was down by a wee river.
Mhm.
And we used to play there
That's
during
dangerous.
the summer. It is,
Like,
but it was like enclosed, like
Yeah.
you couldn't get into it. It's like full door and all.
Did it have like the gates around it? No.
It didn't have gates around it. It was just a standalone massive electricity box. It must have been important for something. And then some older boys told us that there was a guy who lived in it.
Yeah.
Called Buckwheat. And they would say like, "Oh yeah, Buckwheat lives in there."
Yeah.
And the thing about that is, we were all like, "What does he look like?" And all this and all.
Yeah.
But they didn't provide any more information. And that was the scary thing, because your imagination starts to imagine what
Yeah.
buckwheat would look like. So I was, for about 5 years, I was scared of buckwheat. Like,
But I imagine if you opened it, it would just be a fried dude dead.
yeah,
Just in there. Oh,
buckwheat,
you heard Cropsy? The story. There's a show on Netflix about this guy Cropsy.
cropsy and buckwheat.
Cropsy and Buckwheat. That sounds like a 70s detective show. Cropsy and Buckwheat in the case.
Oh no, it's cropsy and buckwheat. Just about to get away with it.
Well, apparently the people were like, this guy just like out like in upstate New York was like, this guy Cropsy. And I mean,
When are we talking? What era?
like recently, like in the noughties, and he's
Called
apparently-
Cropsy?
Cropsy the pedo, mate. And
Oh, he's a pedo.
he comes and gets people from the forest. But then what it transpired, I think there was an actual guy who was just hiding out in the forest, but he wasn't a pedo or nothing. It was just Sly and Cropsy.
Right.
But yeah, so like things like that. And some of the really well known urban legends, like the when they go out for a night out and they leave it with a babysitter. And he's like, "Is the kid okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, kid's okay, apart from that creepy clown." in the
Remember, I used
corner."
to do a bit about that.
Yeah,
And because then people tagged on to that. The urban myth was it wasn't a clown, it was a Lithuanian paedophile.
yeah,
I was like, why is that relevant to add in the
yeah,
nationality?
his nationality, because
And why would he tell you that?
I know he's like,
I'm from Lithuania.
I'm
Goodbye.
I'm a pedophile from Lithuania.
That was really good, that accent.
Thank you.
I've said to someone recently, the most freaked out like that I've ever been, like all the willies and all, is when we filmed Battle of the Bone.
Yeah.
We shot some of that in the Downshire.
No, that was scary.
Let me paint the scene.
Yeah.
I'm 18 or something. And we filmed it in the Downshire, which was a mental
Yeah, I
institution.
think it was an asylum. wasn't
Was
it?
that the right terminology?
I think it's probably a psychiatric unit.
It was a
Is it?
psychiatric unit.
Yeah.
And it was abandoned not that long, I think, before we were filming there. So we were there during the day, and then it gets dark.
And you're right in your element. You're
And
like, it's no bother.
I'm like, I can finally see. So Marco. Follow. So there was a scene where that's why I would have to leave the room in the morning. My dad would guide me to the door. So there was a scene where
I hear my mum pissing.
I had to start off in the morgue,
Oh,
actual morgue,
oh,
and walk down a corridor. So there was a walkie-talkie, and they'd say like action. So I'd walk down this corridor, get a lift.
was that when you were being like the worker? Yeah.
And then walk out the bottom where the crew then were.
Mhm.
So a long walk down that corridor too. The place is in like nearly pitch black darkness, or a few lights they've set up. And the freakiest bit was just standing in that morgue, because they didn't gut this place out Not
Yeah.
that there was like a dead dude there, but like it wasn't like spotless.
Yeah.
There was still debris and there was still a couple of wee things about.
Yeah.
And after like 3 or 4 takes, when I started to realize like where I was and all this, it started to get a bit freaky and I didn't really like it. But the scariest thing we saw was the next day. We were there during the day. Thank God I saw this during the day. And there was an old photo sitting on the ground. And it was, I know you because you're my best friend, and I know that this will freak you out.
Yeah.
There was a promise, right? Promise you. There was a black and white picture, and it was a load of the residents, and it was like a visit in the canteen, and this is where we were. So say there's like 5 residents either side of this person who's come to like do a visit. So they're all posing for the photo. And the person had a giant like fake head on with 2 little black eyes and like a pumpkin type mouth. And there was nothing, like they were just then wearing normal clothes, and there was this giant freaky head, and everyone in the photo had a deadpan face looking at the camera, and that's giving me goosebumps all over. And the photo was just sitting on the ground, and I sort of looked at it, and that, if I'd have seen that when I was up in the morgue, game over. Like,
Oh, that is scary.
but it was, I can still feel being there, if that makes sense. I can picture where we're walking through. And then for Chancers, for the sketch show we've done here, we filmed in the Telegraph building at night, and it's a bit freaky too.
Yeah,
because we're in like the far side of it, and there'd been a bit of fire damage to that. And you know, there's been people in that building when it was like abandoned and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and you just feel like, whoa.
Yeah, and that's what I sort of felt when I was in Grace Needles, especially with Glenn. Give me all this freaky shit. And I go, no, don't say that.
But I think it's your imagination that's scaring you. It's not, you don't think there's a ghost.
But I also think if you have a creative imagination, you always imagine the worst and what could
Yeah.
It's scary. Like I was in Windsor House, which was a psychiatric unit beside the city hospital. It's now been knocked down. And it was like I had to go in there to meet with a psychiatrist about a tenant at the time to see if they were fit for being housed. And it was like, it's been knocked down because it was old, and but it was like what you would imagine, like a psychiatric hospital, like very old, high ceilings, marble floors. And as I was sitting like in the waiting area, like you know, the sort of like wee leather seat, and you see like the wee wheelchairs just sitting in the corner. A girl just walked along, like just going about her business, but she was just like a wee, you know, inmate, like white. And I was like, do they still do that these days? And it freaks me out, the stuff that people like did in those places and what had happened. And then when I was opening for Tim at the Crumlin Road, and I was a bit freaked out as well because he was like, touch it, no. And we were in the Crumlin Road, and afterwards one of the guards was like, do you want to look around the wings? And I was like, I've seen it before, but then some of the other ones were like, oh, I've not, let's do it.
At night though.
At night. And it was like, it was creepy anyway, and they say it's one of the more haunted places, but there's still prisoners buried in the courtyard who are like unclaimed, or they don't have any family to repatriate them or anything. But there's like, oh, so and so died here, there was a bomb here, 2 people died in the canteen. People, like the worst one that I remember them saying about, there was a 13-year-old boy who was put in for like stealing bread or something back in the early days. He hanged himself, and I just couldn't get around like how a 13-year-old would think to do, you know, it was just really, and all the like conditions.
Like you say, I was in there during the day filming something once, years ago, a wee Channel 4 thing, and I was in, and we got to wander around ourselves. So that it was like an hour in between takes, and whoever worked there was like, here, if you want to dander about, you know, and if you have any questions, give me a shout, but feel free to just explore the place. And I was in that hangman's area, and I stood there, and it's the thing I find freakier than seeing something or like a bit of light flicker or whatever is the silence. Yeah. It was so quiet, and the silence was almost like loud, and I was thinking, think of everything that's happened in here.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking...
Like the rope. Like they say that's the original rope. So people have, you know, been hanged by that said rope. And I'd done the tour twice, like just like a prop. And there's once there was, I think it was an old guard or whatever, took us around. It was like, you know, when they show the cell, how it just turns into the hangman cell, which is such a sly mug. You know, like you're about to get, there you go. But one guy was opening the door and I said, then this is it here. And you were like, wow, that's pretty, you know, impactful. Then the next time there was a younger fella doing it, and he did it, ta-da. When he opened the door, he's like, da-da! And I was like, I mean, I don't think that's entirely appropriate. But the last time we were there being shown around, there was a guy being like, and then the last hanging happened here, and I just happened to fully know exactly who it was, what the case was, and I was like, oh, was that Robert McGladdery?
Oh, you're the worst guy.
I was like, was that Robert McGladdery? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, you know,
yeah.
I know you work here, but
yeah.
I think it was, and he was like, no, did he not get accused of the murder of Pearl Gamble in Europe? Was that not the case? I don't think so, man. I think someone else was like, no, it fucking was. And I just was like, all right. And then when I got out, such a nerd, got my phone out, it was like, the people.
Oh, no.
Was it?
Did you? Right. Would you? I would have got really. Do you know what program really freaked me out back in the day? Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No.
That couldn't be on now for kids.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
You know when they're like for the approval of the Midnight Society, that wee bit?
Oh,
and then
man.
Through this, but
this is on like 3:30 in the day.
But the opening credits was terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, like the wee creaky like swing and all, and then it was like wee baby lad. Yeah, and then every
kids
time
would freak out at that, and Goosebumps, obviously.
Yeah, but that was Are You Afraid of the Dark was proper.
Oh, it was fucked up.
Scary. And I was.
What movies and all like freaked you out back in the day?
Right. Well, my Aunt Mary.
Sounds like a horror film.
Yeah, my Aunt Mary. She was like, you know, why everyone has like a pretty, like, she was my aunt who had no other kids, so she was just the one who would tell me all these stories, and like she had this really horrendous story, right? Now, I was like terrified. It was like her go-to story, and she was like, it was this guy, and he killed his sister. They put him in a psychiatric ward, and he was like, I only killed one sister, I want to kill the other one too. And he was like, and he escaped, and he got into this Halloween. He escaped on Halloween night when the weather was bad, and he got into this Halloween store, and he stole this mask and an outfit, and he went around trying to kill his sister, and she was a babysitter, and then she stabbed him through the neck with a knitting needle, and he pulled it out, and he kept going, and then at the end, the police were there, they shot him, and he disappeared, and I was like, is that a true story? And she went, yes, it is. I was probably like 7. Shit himself. Full Halloween, like the full Halloween script.
Yeah,
story
right, yeah.
of the movie Halloween. And he was called Michael Myers. Oh, no.
You're a guy from Austin Powers?
And I was like, I watched that. And I was like, did they steal her idea? That was my first one. These bastards. She's told some of my story, but she would tell me.
I've never seen it.
Oh, Halloween's scary. Like,
I want to look something up and see if I can find it.
Because you know what I find? I am more afraid of stuff that you could conceivably
100%.
You know?
Hollywood ghost story.
Like Hollywood County Down?
Yes, Victoria Road.
Oh, it's a scary place.
Please tell me I can find this. Fuck, my dad knows this story really well too. Fuck. Anyway, there's a house on Victoria Road there. My dad could tell you the story, because he used to fix the car of the family who lived in more recent times. And I'll get this wrong, but it was like the 1910s or something like that. And there was a murder. Murder. And it was two ladies. There was like a woman who worked there, and then someone in the family, and they killed a man. And they had to go on the run. Oh no, they went on the run anyway, and they were found. One of them was found in West Belfast, like behind a fireplace or something, on the run, and they got them. But they said that house became haunted, and it's a scary house. Actually, it's gone now. It's a new development there.
Is that the one that they bricked up the window?
They bricked up the window. So listen to this. Oh, this is another one where I get do you want me to ring my dad for a bit of the story?
Yeah, if you have time, go for it.
So they bricked up the window because kids going to and from Sullivan, walking to school in the years that passed, kept saying that they were seeing someone standing looking at them at that window, and there was nobody else in the house. So that window was bricked up, and you could see where it had been bricked up. So I was in that house multiple times when I was younger, because my dad was fixing their car.
All right, okay. That's a bit freaky.
Call Dad. Imagine he just showed up in my nose curtains. I'm already here. My dad looks like a wee ghost guy, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. But see, now his hair's nice and neat again. He looks
like the teller of ghost stories.
Yes. I bet he'd be great around a fire. Will he answer? I'll be in the gym.
You pull him arms up.
Hey, man.
Hey, look, it's going to be tomorrow instead. I'm on Dave's podcast. Can you tell us a really quick version of, do you know the haunted house on Victoria Road?
I can tell you no better, man.
Right. What was the you're on the podcast now. What was this in the 1910s or something?
I can't remember the exact date, but it was horse and carriage
Yes.
time. The woman that owned it, and I think it was the woman and her sister owned it, and their
Like housemaid or something?
housemaid, exactly. Her housemaid tipped off her brother, who lived in Hill Street up in Belfast in those days. Obviously, it was a slum area.
Right.
The whole place was slums. And they robbed her, and they murdered the owner. And I can't remember for sure, but in my memory, if it was one or two, but I know that Eddie that owned it. She was murdered in the pantry, and they scarpered up to, they took refuge in some houses up in Hill Street.
Oh, right.
And then they got a tip off the police were on their way, and they were apprehended on their way to Larne to catch a boat to Scotland.
And isn't it that, and were they sentenced to death?
I don't think so.
Right. And wasn't it that window got boarded up in that house because kids kept saying they saw the woman stand at the window?
Yes, the woman. The window was at the front of the house, which was the actual side of the house, but it faced the road, and they bricked it up. And they, Twizzle Bridge.
Yeah.
Twizzle Bridge, they erected, opened that. He opened it, and he also exercised the house.
Because you were in that house loads fixing their car.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I used to be friends with the family.
Did they ever feel weird living there, or did they ever see anything or feel anything?
No, but I did. You'd hear creaks and all that there, because obviously it was a really old house.
Yeah.
And no, but it was amazing to see where the murder was committed.
Yeah.
That's called, where their foodstuffs were kept.
Well, you go. Right. Thanks, Fat. I'll give you a shout later.
Bye.
That's pretty freaky.
He doesn't know any details.
And at the end, he should have gone, and that man was me. Imagine that. And then
I got away with it if it wasn't for you pesky podcasters.
Oh, but yeah, those sort of tales really get me. But usually what I do now, I'll say to the guests, I usually have a Patreon episode where I do questions exclusive on Patreon. Don't have time for that today.
No.
Stuff to do.
Yep.
So we're just going to answer the Patreon questions.
Sounds good, brother.
So if you're not on Patreon, you'll not usually get the Q&As, but you'll get it today. You'll be given it. But I've got willies.
Yeah,
willies after that. The willies are in me.
Yep.
And it's not in a good way.
Yep.
I don't normally mind willies, but today the willies are not good. Wow, that was a fun time. That was a lot of fun, that podcast. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Let's get to the Q&As. Oh, whoa. Taylor has written a lot. Good morning. With the launch of another
No,
pod,
I don't think it's meant like that.
Sorry. Good morning. With the launch of another pod featuring silly lazy boys getting up to no good, could we expect another tip-tingling bespoke Boytown Christmas miracle? I think us residents would be keen to hear about that, Warren, what you may have heard the whispers in Boytown Glory Holes about writing a cease and desist letter to Lazy Boys podcast for using and abusing our copyright protected name. It'd be a shame if that had to happen. Following on from that, any chance for return of some fan favourites or character phone calls?
I'll do a phone call you want. Or you.
You know what? I think now is not the time for it. You know, I think we'll maybe do that another day.
Okay.
I just got my resignation letter from work there. Wow, it popped in. But I think another time. There's a time and a place for something like that. But I just when I was chatting to Willie, which would be on next week's episode. Putting this out for
You did a call?
Yeah, no. Someone had asked about, or no, he had asked me about the voice of the old man that we did the meat books. And I couldn't do it. I had to think
Perry
about it.
Comeover?
Perry Comeover, the meat books. I like you can eat
Meat
it.
books.
You can read it, then you can eat it.
That's it.
But that was good fun. But I'd always say never. There's always a time that something might pop up for the odd one off here or there. Naomi Mitchell is where does she find this stuff? I strapped a car battery onto my balls, onto my balls, so I could come at Ferrari speed. Now I can't reproduce. What should I do? I mean, I don't think that's Naomi saying that. I think that's a story she sent.
Oh right, yeah.
But I don't think you should attach any like engine, batteries, electricity to your testicles.
No.
I don't get why, people don't just like take a wee wanker, have a bit of sex or something.
Yeah. Even like
all this stuff weird.
Like nipple clamps or anything like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't like my nipples being like.
I can't have my nipples be touched.
Yeah.
At all. Like brushed. You can't brush my nipples.
No, I don't like it. But they ain't clamped at all. And but guys being like, "Oh, I really want you to kick me in the balls."
There's something I could see you being into, and I want you to be honest about it.
Okay. Yeah.
No, will you be honest about it?
Well, you'll be able to tell because I'm looking in your face now.
No, we've never discussed this.
No.
We discussed everything but this.
Yeah.
I think you're in to playing with feet.
Oh no,
No?
not a feet. That's one thing I don't get.
I could see you being a foot muncher. Like,
here's the thing, right? See me. I look like I could be into anything perverted. I've had face. If you said, if you were like, "Oh, Davey's a big cock sniffer," you'd be like, "Look, of course he is. Oh, he loves feet and all." Imagine like, "Oh, Dave loves sticking marbles up his hole." You'd be like, "Oh, God."
You do look like a dirty bastard.
Yeah, I do. Like any guy who is into sex perversion is bald, overweight with a beard. It's just always like, see if you're like, "Oh, Dave loves? He loves his missus lifting up his legs and talking his wee arse and putting a big fucking baby nappy on him." You know what I mean? All these things you could say I'm into.
I think that last one slipped through the net, and that is a real one.
Yeah.
I'd say you would like getting talked.
I haven't been talked from when I was a baby, and with best of memory, I think I enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't. Right, here's the thing.
But what does talc do for a wee baby?
I think it stops your wee bum rubbing and being sore.
But you got to put it everywhere.
Not just your wee bum. But do you think I think in a non-sexual way, it would feel nice. See if someone's like just put. No, you'd be awkward, and you wouldn't want anyone being around there. But if you're like just put your legs up,
would you not?
Wash, but no, it would. Not anyone I liked, I didn't anybody like. If my wife tried to go near my body, I'd be like, "It's not safe. It's not safe. It's not safe."
Would you?
Yeah. Well, would it do it?
No, you would.
Would I get? I mean, listen, I'm open to everything, but just I think when you're married and happy and content, you don't need to try weird shit because that'll make day-to-day life awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. You're a very cheeky man. Aaron says, a funny or nah segment on UK household name comedians like Michael McIntyre, John Bishop, Peter Kay, Jimmy Carr, Sarah Millican, etc. So just saying, are they funny or not? No, this is supposed to be on Patreon.
I can give you a sweeping answer to all that.
Yeah.
All funny.
Yeah.
See if you're a big selling comedian like that. Mm-hmm. Now, I think it's different with maybe newer acts that come on. Hopefully this isn't like a real granddad answer. That maybe don't have a stand-up background and are doing it. You could probably objectively be like, not funny. No, I mean, there's some, by the way, some of those guys are fucking great and have the skills to bypass everything. Yeah. But I mean, you could look at that group more, I suppose, and be like, oh, maybe not funny, not funny. Yeah. All those guys of that generation, they're all fun. Like, they've been doing it for so long. Yeah. They are funny. Mrs. Brown's Boys is funny. Or some of those things are a cup of tea, no, but they are very funny.
See the likes of like a Michael McIntyre, Sarah Millican, a John Bishop. They've probably done the clubs, of course they have, but then had to maybe PC it a bit for wide mainstream audiences. I guarantee if you go and see any of them, like working new bits in like a club, they can turn it up like that. They probably have the skill set to be able to just kill. Bit of blue as well, I'm sure. Michael McIntyre's very funny. He's just very mainstream. People are like, he annoys me, but he's hilarious. Yeah. You know, and I think the older you get, like with us, I think maybe if we went back maybe 10 years, we were starting out to be like,
Yeah.
these guys need
No,
the scene needs to change, man.
Now, if he was
Yeah.
doing stand up on TV, would I seek it out?
Mhm.
No. Would I? Do you want to watch this Michael McIntyre DVD?
Yeah.
I would say no. But if it's on, I could appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
just not my particular taste.
Yeah.
But do I think it's funny? Well, yeah, it has to be.
But I also like his sweet TV show. He takes the phone and all.
Do you?
Struck that off Boytown, didn't he? And now this is midwife at your cervix has asked the question saying, I'm currently 22 weeks pregnant. I believe my husband will be clueless for labour. Hold on, my phone's ringing. It might be Holly's school. Hold on.
Take it.
Yeah.
I'll fill time. You want to take it outside?
Hello.
Right now we can really get the podcast going. Davey's leaving. Folks, I am on tour. ShaneToddComedy.com. I'm doing the SSE Arena in Belfast. Olympia in Dublin sold out. Tickets left for Cork Opera House. Galway this Friday is sold out. And then I'm doing a Europe tour where my ticket sales are barren. It's awful. Milan show cancelled. Oslo cancelled. By the way, that's them, not me. I've swapped Brussels and Milan, and I've got Barcelona. I've got Paris, Amsterdam, other places. I don't know. I can't keep up. And me and Willie toured in the Middle East in December, so come and see me. And look, Davy's just filmed some of his shows in the courthouse in Bangor. So whenever you see him release that, whether it's a full special or clips, see if you like it and you like him, share it out. We'll all share it out. We'll share it, put it on your Instagram story, tag your mates in it, and that kind of thing. Because Bangor Courthouse is a great venue, and we want to support the big dog. Other than that, I would say let's just love each other. Right, brother?
Yeah, it was just a moment, a proud moment.
What happened?
Being asked to turn on my local Christmas lights there.
Is that actually what it was?
Yeah.
Actually?
Yeah. So
you're turning on the Hollywood Christmas lights?
No, I said fuck off. No. I actually got offered to turn on Hollywood lights, but I said that's not me anymore.
So that's not what that call was, no?
It was.
Who is doing the Bangor lights?
That's what it was about.
Being serious, promise?
Yeah.
On our friendship, promise?
Yeah, on friendship.
And you're going to do it?
If I said, like, I've done my diary here, but phone me later, I'll do it, yeah.
Well done, brother. That's a great
Cheers,
moment.
thank you.
Listen, you might think that kind of thing's naff.
Yeah.
It'll be a great moment. Your kids will love it.
Yeah.
So
Pete
do it.
Snodden did it last year, so, you know.
Who are you going to pass the baton on to? Jamie Bryson.
Bryson. Yeah. Bryson.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Just do it.
So that was that. So, you know, I think that's enough to wrap it up. 22 weeks pregnant. That was actually a good question. Probably some fatherly advice. So we'll get that last question.
Before we do,
yes.
Will you do if we do, speaking of Christmas episodes, if we do a Lazy Boys Christmas episode, will you, we were talking about this earlier, if we arrange you transport to and from your house, would you have a bottle of red wine and be drunk Santa?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. See, I'm currently 22 weeks pregnant, and I believe my husband will be clueless for labour. Since Shane is a water baby, I'm a water birth expert. What's his advice on being a good partner, a birthing partner?
I'm not a water birth child myself, but obviously I've done two of them. I would say I recommend it. I would say do it. I would say don't write your husband off. You think this guy's clueless. See, when you get down to it, you might find this guy's absolutely brilliant and he shines, you know, but it's hard to know. When you're the birth partner, it's hard to know, like, when to get involved and what to do. But see, when it comes to it, it's fight or flight, you know.
And hopefully he'll not be jumping out of the pool. You know, that'd be awkward.
Exactly. Do you know what's a good hypnobirthing? Hypnobirthing.
Is there something a bit weird about that?
Nope.
The woman's hypnotized, and then
you're not hypnotized. You're not hypnotized. Not any of that kind of thing. We did that Positive Birth Company or something. I think it's from. We did that, and it was brilliant.
See, I respect that and everything, but for me personally, if it's not Paul McKenna, I'm not having it.
Right.
It'll be him. Or Stephen Mulhern. I don't know if he does hypnotism, but
I think he's hypnotized UK TV audiences for 15 years into thinking he's a good presenter.
Do you not agree?
No.
You not a fan of Mulhern?
No.
Oh wow, he's been my number one guy. What, are we going to call him out because he listens?
Do you watch Mulhern and go, oh, yes, dude?
Every time.
No, he just stands there.
But he's a Batman.
No, he's not. Ant and Deck do the heavy lifting, and they're like, oh, Stephen. No, he's like, You don't do nothing, mate.
Well, listen, Mulhern, if you're listening...
Changed my mind. I got to say, I haven't watched them in a long time. Maybe I'm wrong.
Who
but
are
I
you
don't
looking
think I
at
am.
for these days as presenters? Who do you like? I like what they present.
I don't watch TV. I don't know. I watch like big series.
Mhm.
Big series. Do you know what I had to stop watching? The Responder.
Yeah.
Martin Freeman. First series amazing. Second series is brilliant, but it makes me go...
It's sad. It's stressful, isn't it?
Really stressful. But great acting, great show.
That's me. Does he still see his wee girl? Season 2?
But that's why I would say he's doing his best, but I don't know if he is.
Right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Shane Todd and the SLY Guy podcast. Happy Halloween. Make sure you don't poison children with sweets.
Yeah.
And if the kids are being too demanding, just say...
I was going to put our Halloween Remember sketch out again, but it keeps getting taken down because now's a different time because I have threatened you to kill you with a knife.
Yeah.
An actual knife.
You know, but it's a great sketch.
It's a great sketch.
You know what they need to do? A bit of advice. See anyone kids come to your door and they're winding you up and you don't want to give them newspaper?
Roll it up.
Bridge your nose. Happy Halloween, Sam Hain, or anyone that celebrates being off work. Enjoy it.
You said Liam Payne?
Yeah.
I'm the SLY Guy.